Weekly Business Recap, Episode 4. Let's go. Hey, my name is Caroline Maley. I am a ghostwriter based in the Mediterranean, and I help CEOs, founders, and executives in events and entertainment build their personal brands through newsletters, through the inbox. And this is a weekly recap of a couple things that happened this week in my ghostwriting business. I've had a couple conversations with my clients over the last weeks just around how important it is to remember on social media, especially LinkedIn. Most of my clients are using LinkedIn, is to remember that so many more people are actually just watching, not even engaging with any posts, and definitely not posting themselves. And so even if a post only gets 5-10 likes, it doesn't mean that it wasn't successful. And to give you an example of this, one of my clients actually received a DM from somebody who had taken his advice from the post, used it with his teams. It was a post around leadership, and had a really positive result with it. He didn't engage with the post, he didn't like it, but he shared that in a private message afterwards. So it's something to keep in mind as you're posting on LinkedIn, and something I talk to my clients a lot about. I love hearing their stories about people that have reached out in the DMs. I'm working one-on-one with a client as part of my newsletter accelerator mentorship. This is where I work one-on-one with somebody who would like to build out an entire newsletter funnel, not just start their first newsletter, but actually build out the funnel from LinkedIn all the way through to the welcome experience, lead magnet, the newsletter itself, how to drive traffic to the newsletter, how to sell services through their newsletter as well. I'm working one-on-one with somebody right now, and something that came up on our last call was really making sure that the language used in all communication, whether it's the welcome experience, whether it's the newsletter, where it's as part of the lead magnet, to make sure it's really, really relevant to the reader that you're trying to attract. And the example that we discussed was he was trying to attract, the readers are speakers, and speakers who want to get more speaking gigs. And he was talking about email marketing in a way that was very email marketing based, which is fine if you're speaking to email marketers or people interested in that industry, in those topics. However, when speaking to speakers, I challenged him to try and make his language a lot more specific. And the example that I gave was, instead of saying, do this to attract new leads, say something along the lines of, do this so that event planners are jumping in your inbox. That way, your next audience is not your kids sitting across from you on the kitchen table, but your dream stage. Something like that. So make it really, really relatable, and add storytelling to it so they can imagine, oh yeah, I do practice my speech in front of my kids sitting across from me on the kitchen table as we're having dinner. Over the last 6 months, I have helped over 50 people start their first newsletter through my challenge, the Start Your First Newsletter Challenge. I've been getting a lot of feedback recently that the challenge is maybe a bit too long and people want quick wins. They want to be able to do this a lot quicker. So after gathering all that feedback, after speaking with people who might be interested, after speaking with people who have already done the challenge, I came up with a new format. And it is the Start Your First Newsletter live workshop. So we're going to take 90 minutes together on the 1st of August, and we're going to work through all of the foundational pieces that you need to start your newsletter. So things like, what topics do you want to write about, who your reader is, what your value proposition is, what your promise to them is, how you're driving traffic to your newsletter, what are your content buckets, what are all the things you want to talk about, what does your newsletter look like, what layout do you want to follow. These are all very important considerations, and a lot of people get stuck here. Most people I speak to, when I ask them what's your biggest challenge in starting a newsletter, they all say starting, just getting started, ignoring all these obstacles or getting past all these obstacles and just actually writing a newsletter. And so that's why I came up with this format. You're going to get more clarity and have more of a head start in 90 minutes in this workshop than you've probably done in the whole entire 2024. So if you'd like to join us on August 1st, just go to startyourfirstnewsletter.com and sign up. And that is this week's recap. I hope you learned something. Have a great week, and I will see you back here next Monday for the next weekly recap.